Here's Dana White earlier today, around an hour and a half or so ago, addressing the media for the first time since the incident on New Year's Eve in Mexico, where he was seen on camera striking his wife, slapping his wife after she slapped him, caught on camera by TMZ. Back and forth they went. He addressed it once when the news broke on New Year's Day. Nothing since, nothing from Endeavor, nothing from the UFC company proper. But here he is an hour and a half ago in Las Vegas.
So I just wanted to come out today and talk to you guys on this media day with the athletes that, the focus is on them. These guys have trained hard and got ready for this fight. What happened on New Year's Eve is my mistake, not theirs. And obviously, nobody's more about free speech than me. If one of the fighters wants to come out and voice their opinion on it and whatever it might be, then by all means. I'm sure you guys have seen the TMZ video and seen my interview. It was obviously a horrible personal experience, and there's no excuses for it. Something that I'm going to have to deal with and live with for the rest of my life. And one thing that I do want to clarify in this thing that I didn't talk about on TMZ because I didn't expect it and I didn't see it coming is the people that are defending me. There's never an excuse. I'm sure you guys have read some of the same stuff that I've seen. There's no defense for this, and people should not be defending me over this thing, no matter what. All the criticism that I have received this week is 100% warranted and will receive in the future. So, and you know me better than anybody, if, especially the people that I don't like start coming after me, nobody fires back more than I do. Whatever anybody has to say, everybody has an opinion on this, and they're right to have their own opinions. I was very opinionated on this too, and I still am. It's crazy that I'm sitting here even having this conversation with you guys, but yeah. So my reason for being here today is I just wanted you guys to focus on them and not me. Any questions?
I was going to ask you. We're taking questions. I guess the big question that everybody wants to know,
for a sec,
like you said,
before we get to the questions. So it's a lot different when you watch it as opposed to when you read it, and we'll get back to the rest because I think, like if we would have just had that, I don't think this would have been complete. It doesn't. Am I crazy for saying when you read it, it feels more impactful than when you see it? Am I wrong for that?
No, I think you're right.
I'm going to see more. I'm just trying to process. I respect that he says people shouldn't be defending. That's a new wrinkle to this, and I think that's a message mainly for the fighters on the roster, but also you would think for the fan base, for the workers as well. And him saying, that, people who I don't like, I don't know who he's referring to there, but, people who are criticizing me, whatever, it's warranted. I'm sure he's stumbling there a little bit because he's biting his lip. That's not his style. But again, we have heard Dana White address this. And to think that he is going to punish himself or that he should be the only person who addresses this, to me, feels a little unfair to everyone else. It feels somewhat cowardly that no one else is willing to address this except for the guy involved. Now, again, full marks. Not easy to go up there. And we'll see what else he has to say. But I don't think anyone was clamoring for him to come back and say any of this. I think they wanted to know what the company thinks of all of it. Now let's see what else he has to say.
Full apologies. And I like your statement there that it shouldn't be defended at all. But are there going to be any repercussions? People are saying, he's a big public figure. He's big, charged this big company. Nobody's really talking about it. Are there any repercussions?
Can we just pause something right here? Once and for all. Sorry, I'm going to keep doing this now. We're going to get into one of these. I am so tired of what the people are saying. I am so tired. We got to be better than that. Sorry. We got to be better than that. Either you think or name who is saying. But the people are saying thing is a constant at UFC press conferences and in particular, and I'm so tired of it. So tired of it. Okay, continue.
self-imposed repercussions.
Yeah, well, I mean, what should the repercussions be? You tell me. I take 30 days off. How does that hurt me?
Pause for a sec.
I mean, I told
this
you
is
guys.
exactly what I was trying to avoid. And is this annoying for you guys, the pausing?
No.
Okay. He shouldn't be the one punishing himself. He shouldn't be the one answering the question on what the punishment should be, in my opinion. That should be to someone who is in a position to make these calls. You don't ask someone who committed the quote-unquote crime what they think the punishment should be. That's not how it works. That's not how it's ever worked in any walk of life. So it's fine that we ask them the question, like, do you think you should be punished? Do you think? But ultimately, it's not up to us. It's not up to him. It's up to the bosses. It's up to the people in charge. We shall.
When we were going through COVID could last 10 years. I could sit it out and, you know what I mean? What would be the problem? It's much like COVID, actually. You know, me leaving hurts the company, hurts my employees, hurts the fighters. Doesn't hurt me. I could have left in 2016. You know what I mean? I don't know. What's the do I need
Disagree with that
to
statement.
reflect? No, I don't need to reflect. The next morning when
Sorry, I disagree with that statement. Just, you know, that's not my personal feelings, so I disagree with that statement. I think that the ship will sail very, very nicely without him at this point, and you can make the argument, you can make the case that he's more of a deterrent at this point than not. Sorry, continue.
I woke up, you know what I mean? I've been against this. I've owned this. I'm telling you that I'm wrong. And, but listen, I mean, we've had plenty of discussions internally with Ari, ESPN. Nobody's happy. Nobody's happy about this, you know. Neither am I. But it happened. And I have to deal with it. And what is my punishment? Here's my punishment. I got to walk around for however long I live. Is it 10.4 years or is it another 25 years? And I gotta, this is how I'm labeled now. My other punishment is that, you know, I'm sure a lot of people, whether it be media, fighters, friends, acquaintances who had respect for me might not have respect for me now. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm going to have to deal with for the rest of my life that are way more of a punishment than what? I take a 30-day, 60-day absence? That's not a punishment to me. The punishment is that I did it, and now I have to deal with it. And more importantly, you guys know how I feel about other people's opinions of me, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again.
Again, I appreciate the fact that he has to be introspective here, but just because you live with something, that doesn't mean that it's you could say that to any criminal then, like, oh, you're going to have to live with the fact that you hit that person while drunk driving. No, you have to pay the consequences. You think everyone who, you know, drives drunk and gets into an accident feels good about it? No, they don't. And they'll be labeled as such for the rest of their life. There's still consequences. Like, it's not just the feelings world that we're living in here. And I certainly don't think he subscribes to that. So again, I think we have to recognize and respect the fact that he is up there facing the music and he's being introspective. And I think he is being, to a certain degree, and we'll see if someone asks him, like, hey, you're still doing F It Friday, this gambling thing, all that. Like, I think to a certain degree he's being genuine, but it's not on him to decide the punishment. And I do think a 60-day punishment, if that's what they deem to be necessary, if that's what they deem to be impactful, if that's the case, then I do think it would be prudent. But this idea that we're going to ask him to punish himself or want to know what he thinks the punishment is, or this justification that because I have to live with my actions, that's punishment enough, doesn't fly, because it doesn't fly in any society. That's not the society we live in. Oh, I recognize I made a mistake. Like, just you or I. If I did something like that, I'd probably be fired from every job I have. So I'll have to live with it, but also face repercussions. Please continue.
Nobody, I know a lot of you. I don't know what you do when you go home. I don't know what you're into. Nobody knows you better than your kids do. Okay? My oldest is almost 22. So for 22 years, he's grown up in a house with me and my wife and the rest of our family. They hear and see everything. They know everything, you know. So whatever perceptions people might have about you, nobody knows better than your kids. And as long as my kids know exactly who I am, they know exactly who their mother is, and that's what's important to us. You know, this is a personal family matter that played out in public, and you know, our biggest focus was our kids. You want to talk about people being disappointed? Who's going to be more disappointed than your kids are? And you know, that's what we've really been focusing on. I mean, as far as her and I go, we both apologized. We apologized to our kids, and you know, trying to move forward.
Is there anything moving forward that you think you can do in terms of, I mean, you just have such a high profile position, right? Like in terms of advocacy, I mean, as you said, this is wrong, this is bad. I mean, is there anything that you think this would be a great point to start to, I don't know, a message against it, supportive domestic violence victims, anything along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, we've created a lot of awareness, you know. This was, you know, and it's not something that I'm trying to, but I've been married to this woman for 27 years. We've known each other for 40. We've been friends for 40 years. We've been married for 27 years, you know. And like I said, anybody who's married knows being married is you know, it's a job. It's something you got to work at every day. Her and I have been through some shit, but we're still together. We have 3 great kids, and, you know, the biggest focus for us is our family. I mean, yeah, I guess it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think about what it's like. I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of awareness, and, you know, I haven't hid from this thing. I haven't ran from it. I've taken it head on, and from day one. I mean, I don't know what else I could do. Sure, if I could help anybody else in this situation. I mean, I said it before, and now I'm saying it after I've done it. You don't ever do it. Don't defend me. Don't anybody defend me. There's
But he also
there's
said,
no reason.
Pause, please. He also said there's no coming back from it, and people have been reprimanded for it, and that's not happening here. And what is the message? You know, I hate playing this Monday morning quarterback, or at least this like media, you know, purveyor here, where I'm criticized. But like, you want to know what I would ask in that situation? What are you going to do the next time one of your fighters does this exact same thing? How are you going to be able to reprimand them if nothing happened to you? What happens if one of your employees does this? This is what I would ask. I don't know if anyone did ask this, so kudos. But that's the main thing here. It's about what type of message you are sending to the rest. You clearly feel bad about it. You clearly think it's a bad thing. But if nothing is happening as a result of this bad thing that happened, then, you know, how bad was it in your eyes? Right? Because we are taught that when bad things happen, there are repercussions. What are the repercussions here? Oh, the repercussions are internal. Like, we don't know. I mean, we don't know. What he's talking about is, like, we don't know any of that stuff. As he said it himself, we don't know about what happens behind the scenes. So, falls a tad flat. Let's continue.
To even try to defend me. And I don't want any of our fighters in this position where they feel like they have to, unless they want to come out and say, he's an asshole, or, you know, whatever their feelings are about this. I'm all about free speech, so.
Last thing for me, Dan, I mean, it was incredibly unfortunate timing, I guess, in terms of the launch of a slap league. I mean, do you think that's going to impact what happens with that, or is it good to go? Or what?
There is no good or bad timing for what I did. You know what I mean? There's irony, very ironic, but there's no good or bad timing for what I did on New Year's Eve.
Dana, obviously, you know, when something like this happens, you've got to take it day by day. I'm sure plans are changing.
You never answered the question. I think the question was going to be like, what's going to happen, right? So let's see. But wasn't that the question? I think that's the question.
What it felt like it was going to.
Yeah. All right, let's continue.
Changing about how you deal with it, but sitting here today, do you think, oh, maybe I should have done this differently? Maybe I should have put out a statement rather than go to TMZ? Is there anything you would have done differently?
I would have stayed home New Year's Eve. If I could go back and change anything, I'd have stayed home on New Year's Eve, yeah. But no. I don't know. Do you think so?
I don't know. Maybe an official statement, but if you said that in TMZ, it's the same words.
I did an interview on TMZ. I literally, what else was there to say?
No, I agree.
I mean, you could literally write an official statement from my TMZ interview.
You mentioned it's a personal matter.
Not that he wouldn't hit her, it's that he wouldn't go out on New Year's Eve. That's the thing
right?
that he would change. That's pretty crazy to hear.
By the way, I love GC chiming in here. Thanks.
I mean, that's crazy to me. Like,
Right. Now, okay, so again, you see what the defenders would say, right? The defenders would say, well, he's saying that because then he hit her. But no, but that's ultimately like, you could go out on New Year's Eve. You could have a good time. You could even drink. It's you going out wasn't what led to that.
He could just say she didn't deserve to be hit. I can't believe I did that. I'll never do that again. Instead, it's I should have stayed home.
Right. Great call, GC.
I respect that, but I'm curious, is everything okay with the family? Is it a process?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing nobody's asking about. Hey, are you guys okay? Is everything? We finished our family vacation and we came home. And yes, we're good. I mean, obviously, we're still dealing with, with the kids. My oldest isn't happy with us, you know what I mean? And it's I'm sure it's embarrassing for the kids, that this thing played out. And again, I can tell you this, and a lot of people will take it however they want, will believe or won't believe, but it's never happened before. It never, ever happened before. So obviously for my kids, it's a big deal.
How tough was that conversation with them the day after and just in general?
I mean, just like we did, before the TMZ interview happened, we sent them the video and we got them on the phone, and we did the best we could.
Thanks, Dana.
Hey, Dana. I was just wondering if you have
By the way,
reached out to
side
any
note,
of the
I'd love to know who shot this. Is that a crazy thing? Like, how did this happen? How did it get to TMZ? Did TMZ pay for it? Did TMZ have to show it to Dana for what a weird turn of events, right? Because it wasn't like, I don't know. It wasn't like on a security camera or something like that, but minute detail, but yeah, who was that person? Anyway.
female fighters on the roster, especially the ones that have dealt with domestic violence before.
And also, by the way, sorry.
No,
Why were they filming Dana in that moment, right? Like from afar, like what are the chances that you'd be filming him and that happens? Strange, right? Isn't that weird?
And then the DJ calls his name out too.
In the middle of the clip, it seems like, right? Dana.
Yeah, it's like very odd.
Yeah, weird. All right.
I haven't reached out to any of the fighters. This is my thing. This is my thing between me and my family. And whether you're a media member, a fighter, or whatever you are, you saw my interview, and that's my position on it, and you're hearing my position on it today.
But again, missing the point that you are a leader, right? That you need to. It's not just like this is my thing. You are a leader of men. You are the boss. There has to be some sort of message that this won't fly, that this won't stand. So, all right, sorry.
Dana, thanks for coming out. Obviously, both sides carried a little bit of fault, but I thank you for coming out here and seems that you're taking a lot of the blame. You don't want people to defend you. What do you say to the people that are wanting to put the blame on your wife, that your wife started this, and that was ramifications of her?
Yeah, action? No, there's only one side of this. It's my side. There's never a reason or an excuse for what happened on New Year's Eve to ever happen, period. And like I said, I'm 53. I'll be 54 this summer. Never done it. I mean, never put my hands on a woman in my life other than my sister when we used to try to kill each other when we were little. You know what I mean? But other than that, this is the first time that it's ever happened, and I guarantee you it will never happen again, and nobody should be defending me. There aren't two sides of this story. There's only my side.
Thanks, Dana.
Thanks.
Wait a second.
Dana.
Wait a second. There's only what? There are two sides to the story. Doesn't his wife have a side? Right? That's a weird statement. All right.
Yeah,
How much left, by the way?
In 2014, you said you don't bounce back from putting your hands on a woman. How do you bounce back from this as a leader in the UFC and at home as a husband and a father?
You don't bounce back from this. You don't ever bounce back from this, you know? For the rest of my life, like I said, however long that is, people are going to label me that. You know what I mean? I did it. I did it.
How do you repair things at home?
You don't bounce back from it. You wake up every day and try to be better than you were yesterday, and you make sure that that never happens again. Whatever steps you have to take to make sure that you're never in that situation and that never happens again, that's what I need to do. And it's a fact. I mean, there's a couple things in life that you don't bounce back from, and this is one of them.
Wait a second. Is my understanding of not bouncing back different than his? My understanding of not bouncing back is like things happen. Like you don't bounce back. You lose your job. You lose this. You lose that. Is his definition of not bouncing back just that you have to live with something, like that it just sticks to you? Is that not a weird kind of defiant definition of not bouncing back? Like when he said it in 2014, wasn't the interpretation of not bouncing back like, yeah, you can't play in the NFL, or you shouldn't play in the NFL, or you should lose out, you should be punished? Am I wrong?
No, I agree with you here. Like
his definition,
bounce back. Like you've lost your job, you've lost everything, you've lost your wife. Like your life is sort of in shambles, and you don't bounce back because of your actions.
What? That is the weirdest thing. I think what he's trying to say is like it sticks to you forever, but like sounds like he's bouncing back just fine, right? He's hanging out, he's gambling, he's out here, he's out there. Like, you know, I am trying so hard to not be a dick here. I truly am. And I'm not trying to like just nip it, but like we're sitting here watching this really seminal moment, like a very rare human moment that we're getting from Dana White. And I, again, will respond and say that he deserves credit for facing the music, but like he says these things and you're like, what are you talking about? Like it almost feels like he's living on some other planet from all of us. Not bouncing back to me, you, or any common man is you lose out on stuff. You are punished. What is the punishment? Otherwise, it just seems like you're moving on. Otherwise, it just seems like a bad night. Okay. Almost done.
It's a fact.
Hi, Dana. Thank you for coming out. I know it can't be easy to face us all. I want to know if there's going to be any changes going forward with fighters that are in this similar situation, if there's any changes to procedures, or now that you've gone through it, if you're going to have any different take on that.
Well, I don't have a different take on it. I mean, it all depends on different situations, you know what I mean? But hopefully everybody's seen what's going on with me, and hopefully this never happens. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We all make mistakes, and you know, all you can do is try to recover from the mistakes that you make in life. And yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it'll be on a case-by-case basis. I mean, we got a lot of people around here that make a lot of mistakes, and I'm one of them. Thank you. Yep.
Dana, just one. Other than everything we can see, is there any damage financially, talking any sponsor or anything financially, any damage for the company?
No, I don't think I don't think so. But you know, still early too, so we'll see. Done with me? Have a great day. Thanks.
You know, valid question there at the end. I guess didn't really answer the slap fighting thing. Again, I'll repeat for the 400th time because I know people say like, you know, didn't have to sit up there. No one's, I mean, he didn't say anyone was forcing him to, and I don't think he would if they were even forcing him to. I would almost bet that someone said you should probably address the media. So, you know, you obviously should get credit for that. Doesn't seem like there's going to be any repercussions. Doesn't seem like anything is going to change. And it doesn't really seem, at least as of right this moment, that Endeavor is going to say anything. And even if they do say anything, I think at this point, it's going to just be, you know, a statement. And if we get that, even if we get that, but it seems like nothing's going to happen. I feel like the takeaway here is nothing is going to happen. Do you guys agree with that, or do you have a different take?
Yeah, I mean, he said it himself. Punishment is to live with it.
Right. How do you feel about that?
Still have to do.
Right.
You'd still have to do if you got punished. You would still have to live with it. But he claims that is his punishment, and I feel like that's as far as this is going to go.
Rick, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, as far as directly addressing, do I think anything more will happen? My stance has been unchanged. I think this was a move to kind of try to proactively address the media and not have to deal with it moving forward. Kind of say, here's the last. We'll speak about this and move on. But I think it will depend on what new happens. Right? We just saw a women's group come out and say that they wanted him to be removed. I think public pressure and things like that are going to be what moves the ball forward from now on. I don't think that we will hear anything more from Endeavor or Dana White unless forced to. Right? This feels like okay, we're going to address this and now move on.
Right.
Type of mentality.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. All right. And so yeah, go ahead.
Just one more thing on the idea of like the crime is the punishment. I mean, that just can't be
right.
Stance. Like that is so out of line. I understand why you could potentially try to spin it that way, but in the world we live in, that is just not sufficient.
I mean, in no walk of life, zero. I mean, yeah, it's a lot. You know, on the whole, you could be like Dana White addressed the media and said there's no answers or no defending, and there's nothing that I could do to warrant any sort of sympathy. Blah 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 blah. Great. Like on the whole, it's like okay, cool. But then when you actually sit and listen to some of the stuff, you're like, what? This feels like a different world. This is not the world that I live in where there's repercussions and punishment.
It's what you said, Ariel. Like I mean, even someone of your stature, if this happened to them, you're fired from every outlet that you work with. Like if anyone, normal, this happens at their workplace, I mean, they're fired without question, and they'll have to answer for it for every single job interview they go to afterward. Obviously, he's in a different category, but just to live with it just seems like an insane thing to try to sell as your punishment.
Weird.